Hey, my name is Rory Smith with Building Digital. I'm sitting here with Mark from Hilti, longtime friend, and we're going to talk about Hilti and the industry and some changes that we're seeing.
Sure, and I'm Mark Stewart. I'm the marketing director in Canada for Hilti.
Excellent. Okay, let's get into it.
Great to be here.
So, talking about Hilti, talking about brands in the industry, we know this isn't the first time we've seen a lot of things changing, but let's start with where things are right now. How do you think Hilti's seen in the industry, especially as marketing? What is Hilti's role? What's its persona? Where does Hilti stand in the industry right now?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because Hilti, as a brand, has been around for many years. We were founded in the late 40s out of Liechtenstein, and so we are known as a company that innovates because we started with an engineer and a sales team. So there's one person in sales, one person in engineering back in the day, and bringing innovation to the industry. I think we're best known for our hardware, so our products that we develop. And I think as we go out and meet with customers, what we hear a lot about is, hey, you guys make a great hammer drill, or hey, you guys make a great DX tool. And in the last number of years, be it the last 5 to 10 years, we've really branched out as an organization because we see where construction's going to involve more services and more software into our business.
So what do you think changed, like in the past 10 to 5? What do you think drove that change to try and be seen as more than just the tool guys, if that is how you think you're still seen?
Yeah, I think for us, the change was driven by our customers. We have a unique position as a company compared to some of our competition because we have a direct sales force. So we're one of the only companies in our kind of sphere that have a direct sales force. And so what does that mean in Canada? Every year, we have about 30,000 touch points with customers. And so it's the customers telling us, hey, we need this, or this is great, but we could also do this, or we have a challenge here. And that's what shapes and has shaped the last number of years as we transition and look for other ways that we can bring services and software and stuff to the industry.
Carrying that logic forward, then, that would mean that you'd say that the clients have changed in the past 5 to 10 years.
The industry has changed. The clients have changed. I think what we have seen, and what I've seen too, I've been with Hilti for 25 years, so sales capacity and marketing capacity. And what I've seen from our customers is customers are under more pressure today, more pressure on delivery of timelines, more pressure on cost. And so that pressure has led them to look for other ways that they can do things beyond what they've done in the past. And so what we see and what we hear from customers today is they're always looking for what can give me that competitive edge compared to those in the same trade or segment as they're in.
I mean, yeah, construction's always been competitive, but I would agree that it seems like the temperature is being ramped up and that it keeps getting ramped up as time goes on, even further and further and further.
Yeah, and we hear that, in talking to a lot of construction companies, margins have gotten thinner since the time that I was in the role too. And I mean, any time that your margins are under pressure, you're always looking for ways that you can do something better, add more productivity to your business to create a bit less risk for you as an organization. So,
would you say that because Hilti's an international brand, right? Hilti's all over the place. Would you say that this is being felt similarly, or that the solutions are being sought after similarly in other parts of the world, in the globe?
Yes.
Is this just a national change?
No, this isn't a national change. I mean, this is right across the globe. Different markets are in a different, we have locations in what we call, our kind of developed markets, right? Those ones that are solid. And then we also have emerging markets that are kind of in that growth phase. I think of places like, South America or Asia. And when we look at those, we still see this trend, particularly on the larger projects where you've got a lot of international interest in it with contractors coming in. But if I speak specifically about North America, we see this everywhere in North America.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just easy keyed up question. Are there any myths about Hilti or preconceptions about Hilti that you want to take the opportunity to just pop a hole in or add a new narrative to?
I think, one of the ones that I heard it as a salesperson, I hear it, we talked about it today as a marketing team, is, it's not a myth because Hilti is more expensive than the competition when you look at the actual dollar amount. I think what a lot of people fail to understand is with our direct sales model, it puts us in direct contact with the contractor. Mm-hmm. And so what that allows us to do is develop products, services, and software that don't just impact the cost of the product, but what we are aiming for is to help you to save labor, because the cost of labor in the construction industry is the biggest cost today.
Yes. And
so what we do is we try to develop products that save on the labor. But often what happens is we get pushed, just like any other supplier, to the more purchasing team, procurement team. And so what they're worried about is what's the cost of your widget. What we are trying to do is appeal to the broader operations team, along with the procurement team, of how do we really bring a solution that saves you both on the labor and on the material side.
And is that part of, would you say that's a fundamental part of Hilti's strategy? Like, is there, how I guess what I should ask is there any sort of conversation that happens behind closed doors in Hilti's strategy sessions that you think is worth sharing, that you think is, this is our look ahead strategy, this is what we're focusing on and why? Is there, how deep into that discussion can you go? Are you able to share?
Yeah, so I mean, we just last year introduced what we call our Lead 2030 strategy, which takes us, so we go every time. We've had, very few CEOs over the years because usually they come up through the organization. And so we had a new CEO that took over the organization a couple years ago. And so now we have a new strategic period. 2023 was our last strategic period, so it finished at the end of 2023. We started the new strategic period in 2024. And it's called Lead 2030. But what we are aiming for there and what we talk about consistently is there's three areas we really want to be our best partner for our customer. Is we want to be our customer's best partner for productivity, and then for safety, and then for sustainability. Because those are the three things we see that the construction industry is challenged with today. And our overall goal at the top is to help make construction better.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the real pointed question now, which is how?
How? Yeah, so when we talk about how, for us, it's really through this hardware, services, and software coming together to work together. So a great example is, we have great tools, right? We've made great tools. They're in the red boxes you see floating around here. You have them behind us here. But those tools alone, without the services and software that we offer, cannot bring true productivity to our customers. And so a great example of that is how we take those tools, we put them on our fleet management program, which helps our contractors to better manage their tools. And then we bring in and bolt on software with that, which helps you to know, how are your tools being utilized? Are they being utilized to their fullest extent? Do I have too many tools? And we can optimize them, which then also helps your sustainability message.
So shift from hardware to a combination of smart hardware and software.
Yeah, and not so much of a shift, because we don't want to give up on or move away from what's made us super successful over the years, which is that hardware, the innovation, the working with specifiers to design things that make buildings stand, make them fire resistant, fireproof. So we don't want to move away from that. What we want to do is augment with our software and services that makes us a better partner for our customers.
Right. You have to maintain and make sure that your core is still taken care of.
Yeah, and that's why we will never make, some of our competitors make other products, be it appliances or various things. We will never do that. We know where our core competencies are, we know what we're good at, and we stick with it. Okay,
so let's talk a little bit about that specific shift from not away from the core, but in augmenting the core and going from, let's say, quote unquote, traditional hardware and tools to augmented tools, to connected tools, to on track, to anything that gets attached onto them. Let's talk a little bit more about that augmentation.
Sure. So I think the biggest step change that we've made with tools is almost 4 years ago, 4 years at the end of this year, we introduced our Neuron platform, which is our full cordless platform designed to be built on one battery platform. So depending on whether you're using doesn't matter whether you're using a small tool, like a cordless drill, right up to a large tool. They work off of that same battery platform. And what we did when we launched Neuron is we brought cloud connectivity to the tools. And so when I put a battery on the tool and I go out and use it, there's information that's stored. The other thing that we wanted to make sure is that we didn't make it more difficult for the contractor to get that information out of the tool. And so what we've done is every time you put that battery on that charger and it's got the module on it, which you do every day, you recharge your batteries, it uploads information to the cloud, which then links into our on-track system to provide stuff like, what's my usage, what's my idle time for that asset, which will then help them to optimize their assets, not have too many on one job, not enough on another job to make their crews as productive as possible.
Typical clients for Hilti, people who are using tools, people who like having things in their hand, which is everyone in the construction industry, frankly. I think when they hear about clouds and data and things like that, I think maybe something that does sometimes get missed is how's the UI, how's the design, how's the ease of access to this information? What's that behavior, what's that user experience when it comes to accessing and tracking those things?
So all of that data for us is housed through our OnTrack platform, which is our asset management software. It has both a desktop app for those working in the office as well as phone apps for those working on a job site. It's all very easy to use. The user interface is very much part of what we do. We have also learned a lot we, a number of years ago, acquired FieldWire. FieldWire has one of the highest ratings when it comes to user experience just because of the way that they've built it. And we've learned a lot from that collaboration with them, and that we've also put into our OnTrack to make it in the user interface much easier for a customer.
Well, with all of the money, time, effort, and frankly, emotional attachment that people have with their collection of tools and everything, it's unsurprising that there would be some sort of presence on your mobile device or your phone that says, here's where everything is. You're not going to lose anything. Don't worry. Here's how the batteries are doing. Here's how this is doing. Here's everything. The only thing that I think detracts from that, if I want to give you a chance to talk about it, is does it mean that everything in that person's shed or garage or job site, equipment, trailer, track, anything, does it all need to be Hilti?
No.
Okay.
No. So our OnTrack software is designed to be used with any tool. So, obviously when you go with Hilti, you get the productivity of the tool itself. When we send the tools out for customers who are on OnTrack, they already come with a Bluetooth tag on it. So it's ready to go. Also, you can see a full history because you're on OnTrack, which is a Hilti software. We have all the data, so the tool comes preloaded already. If you are, let's just say, using be it a ladder, be it a generator, whatever it might be from another brand, you can add that. You can add a Bluetooth tag. You can add a geo tag, whatever tags you want to put on it, and you can load it into the OnTrack system. So it's inclusive of all manufacturers, all product types, whether it be a tool that you want to track with Bluetooth, a tool you want to track with a geotag so you know the exact location of it, whether it be a heavy equipment, which you're going to put a module in. You can do all of that, right down to I have 50 ladders and I just want to know where my ladders are, but I don't care which ladder you have. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything anything else you want to say about the tools and the hardware before we go on to some of the software things? I'm wondering specifically if there's anything you want to add that might address labor shortage or labor efficiency.
Labor shortage or efficiency, I think it's not so much the tools on a broad scale. There's certain tools in our class, be it whether it's the JBot, which is a robot for autonomous drilling above, that is one of the areas. We also have all of our total stations, which again are designed to reduce the amount of time for layout. And so we have those which we use for building productivity there. Our fleet program is where we make sure that we have the right tool for the application and also the fastest way. So one of the things that we try to do with our tools is whenever we're bringing a tool or a fastener or fire stop, we want to make sure that we're either simplifying the step. So, if it takes 5 steps to do it today, what can we do to make it so that it's got 3 steps? We want to speed up the steps. So a great example there is if you're using a drill to put an anchor in, if there's an alternative where you use whether it be a battery nailer or a powder nailer or whatever to drive that fastener into the concrete, you speed up the step. And then, we want to try to eliminate steps where we can, which we do with, for example, all of our epoxies for doweling and for anchoring. You can drill dustless, which now means you don't need to clean the hole. So we link those kind of 3 steps to our tools and then also to our consumables or anchors and fire stop.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because it's power tools and finding efficiencies and things like this. It's indicative of repetition, and if you can find a way to save 1 step in a power tool, which is something that's specifically made for repetitive tasks, then that tiny efficiency is compounded over and over and over again.
Yeah, and when we do our productivity analysis, so when we go in and we take our solutions consultants and go into a contractor's organization and kind of look at what they do and see if there's ways that we can eliminate, simplify, and speed up, that's exactly what we do with our tools.
Yeah, or per task when you're drilling how many holes in a day.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weirdly enough, and going back to software and UX and UI and design, it's the exact mentality that you'd want to have when you have someone dealing with how do we set up this software to be helpful? How do we make sure that there's less clicks? How do we make sure there's less dashboards, less thick? We need to make sure it's designed so that there's that how do we remove steps mentality in it?
Yes.
So which came first? And what was the mentality that you think shifted? Because like you said, you've been at Hilti for 25 years. Mm-hmm. When was the first initial shift into we should do something with software? Whether it was an acquisition or a development or something softer, like what was the first conversations like and where did it start?
So we've always during most of my career with Hilti, so at least more than 20 years ago, we've always had software, but it's been on the engineering side of our business. So how do I engineer fire stop? How do I engineer an anchor point? How do I engineer a deck diaphragm? And so we've always been in software. It's been this last little bit as we've seen the industry change that we've moved into looking at a few. And so we always looked and said, okay, well, where could we benefit and also fit our core competencies into it, right? And so that's where we brought out our suite of software. We have a few distinct softwares. So we have the OnTrack one that I talked about. We have FieldWire, which we acquired a number of years ago, that helps with that field to office collaboration and then job site management and that side. And then we also have, globally, we have a Crew Center, which is a software designed for helping you manage your people. It's not in North America yet, but it's being launched in Europe, and then it'll come to North America second. And then we acquired a company called 4PS, which is a ERP software, again, based in Europe. And so eventually our goal is to bundle that all into a suite, but a suite that you can pick and choose. So not like a Microsoft Office where if I buy it, I got to use all 4 of them, but what best benefits your business.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the shift between using software internally for engineering, but then starting to offer it out externally as a product.
Exactly. No, we've always our engineering was always exterior too. So we would offer it to specifiers and to contractors with in-house engineering, so they could do their own design work. And through that process, I mean, we learned a lot about user experience and how we make the user experience as easy as possible, with lots of feedback from our team customers.
So would you say that that's probably one of those, maybe not a myth, but an unknown with Hilti?
Yes.
So
yes,
Hilti's been in the software game for a long time.
We have been in the software game for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The industry is seemingly, like, we had this initial step where tech was really starting to get into things a lot more. And there was this whole mentality of everything's about to get changed, everything's about to become more fast and efficient, and it amounted to a lot more individual tasks for everybody on site to do when it comes to tech. You have to download the app, you have to go through these forms, you have to do data entry, you have to click and snap and pictures and upload and all of these things. Now we're seeing another resurgence of this everything's about to change narrative. But you're seeing successes as well. And the successes all manifest in subtraction of any effort from the end user.
Yeah.
Because they are busy.
Yes.
And it's why it didn't work the first time, because it was 50 different apps all asking for the end user to do just one or two simple tasks.
Yeah. Their mind is on building the structure, not on I need to click here and click here and click here. So the more
you need a lot of tools and a lot of processes and a lot of collaboration and coordination between a lot of different people in order to build something like that.
Yes.
Every single step, every single tool can't add even one or two little tiny steps. It makes everything untenable. Yeah,
and that's why with Neuron, that's why we did that process where we looked at, okay, what does a worker do every day? Well, every day if you're using a cordless tool, you got to charge the battery. So instead of having it where we got to go and do something different to get that information up to the cloud, we just need to make it so that every time I stick that battery on the charger, it's uploading information, and it's not something that I have to do in order to get that information out of that tool.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now the only thing I guess they have to do is use the app, download the app.
They need to download the app, and so we have an we have OnTrack Ready, which is kind of our entry level. It's free. It doesn't really track your assets. It's more for like if I have a series of Hilti tools, I can schedule repairs through them. So it's designed to make things easier for people who own our tools to do business with us and have their tools repaired, track what they actually have Hilti-wise. And then as you go up, we have, the basic OnTrack, and then we have OnTrack Pro, and then it's all open API. So if you want to link it to your existing ERP software, we can help you with that, be it if you have your own in-house team, they can do that themselves. We can also be the kind of liaison that goes between the OnTrack and the contractor to help them to link those two together, to remove duplication of effort. Because one of the things is, for example, if I'm setting a project up in my ERP software, why should I have to go to OnTrack to set that same project up? Mm-hmm. I should set it up in my ERP software, and it should automatically show up in my OnTrack. And so that's why we have the API, because we can aid in making that transition easier between what your system is. Because our goal with our software is that our software can work with any ERP. There's so many ERPs out there. There's no way that we could, design ours to fit with one. We have already links with some of the key ERPs out there and project management software, but we can link with pretty much anything.
Do you see a lot of your clients who have in-house teams who are capable of doing something like that?
No.
Good to know.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of ERPs, let's talk briefly on 4PS and FieldWire, and then we'll get into the sort of industry narrative thing. So is there any messaging on 4PS?
So 4PS is, at some point we will bring it to North America. So when you look at the North American market, there's a lot more bigger players in North America. The European market, it has a lot of medium-sized contractors, and then there are those big international players. But it's more today suited for and known well in the European market. And with the maturity of the North American market, a lot of construction companies have their own ERP software or are in the process of switching. We haven't brought that to North America yet. Whereas FieldWire was designed in San Francisco for the North American market. With the idea of we need a simple, what we see, if you look at FieldWire and you say FieldWire compared to some of the other project management softwares out there, what they excel at is office. So managing your project, understanding your costs and stuff like that. If I'm a person on site doing the work, doing the task, some of that software is very confusing and very difficult for them to use. whereas FieldWire was developed to support the person on site and the person in the office, making it easy for that person on site to know what tasks they have to do, document the work that they did, upload pictures of what it is that they did, see plans, see revisions, communicate seamlessly with those outside in the office, specifiers. So it was designed really with this user experience and this worker persona in place first, so that the user adoption would be strong.
I think FieldWire was one of the first ones I saw that found success in that tactic.
Yes.
Right? Like we've spoken about how some other tech has found some success in taking that approach, in designing it for simplicity and designing it for the project teams. I think FieldWire might be the first one I heard about that was really doing that well.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yeah, we've had good success. All sizes of customers, all trades. With FieldWire. I know Ellis Don is a big user of FieldWire. And so we've got a dedicated FieldWire team of business developers, but then, also our back-end support team, and we're constantly bringing out new modules and stuff for FieldWire as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get into the last little bit here. So where do you see things headed in the industry over the next 5 years? 10 years, 10 years.
5 to 10 years.
Let's say.
I think what you're going to see, I don't know yet what role AI will play, but I know it's going to play a role.
Yeah.
I think as you look at the industry, and we are a company who knows that AI is going to play a big role, but as of yet, we want to see, there's a lot of money being thrown around for AI, but yet I don't believe that it's given the returns yet in a lot of areas. And so we're kind of still trying to understand, but we know it's going to play a big role in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years. Just don't know exactly what that role looks like and what our involvement will be in it.
Are there any things coming down the pipeline for Hilti in the next 5 to 10 that you're able to talk about?
So we're pretty tight-lipped on that stuff.
That's fine.
We're always in development. Myself, I go down 3 times a year to our head office for North America in Dallas, and we talk with our global counterparts, and they've got a whole list of, different upgrades to whether it be our software, additional services, or, new hardware, new tools, new fasteners to make things simpler and faster for our teams.
Without getting into specifics.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's anything you can talk about, not with the specific strategies or products or anything, but just the tone of those conversations. Like, 'cause I don't want anyone to have this ethereal, generalized view that, are people talking about this stuff? Are they thinking seriously about tech? It's very different from people assuming that, they probably got some sort of product line or something like that. And it's something else to know that people are actively meeting and talking about all the different tech things that could be getting done and making priorities and decisions and discussions around all the new things that are out there. So can you maybe just let me know, what's the tone of those conversations like? Is it excitement? Is it a lot of brainstorming and spitballing? Like, how does it?
It's excitement. I mean, with our business model being direct sales, we collect information from our sales team who's collecting that information from you guys. And then when we go down there, we're taking that information to our global colleagues, and we're having great discussions about, what's next, what's in the pipeline, what's in their pipeline, what are North American contractors asking for, what are we hearing from them. And then they take it back and they refine what are the things that we actually work on. Our list is always longer than what can get done and what we have resources to do.
As it should be.
And so it's about prioritization at that point. Yeah.
Okay. I know you said, we spoke a little bit about this constant simplifying of tech and processes and augmentation and empowering, which obviously is very important to any GCs out there or any trades, anyone. But it should be, and I know it is very important to a company like Hilti, whose core, as we said, is what's getting into the hands of people on jobs. So do you see that simplicity trend continuing? Do you see it getting bigger, better, more efficient, more successes in it? Like, how do you see the augmentation of people and labor and the industry going forwards? Obviously, it's a combination of hardware and software, but what's being talked about? Where do you see that trend continuing?
I think for us, the big topic we talk about is it's not replacing the worker, but it's like you said, augmenting the worker, right? We are still going to need highly qualified people to build buildings. And so it's how do we take the highly qualified people that we have today and make them more efficient? Not how do we replace you, but how do we make your job easier? How do we make it safer? How do we make the building potentially more sustainable? But it's not replacing the worker, but figuring out ways like, for example, the JBot, you still need a worker to run that JBot, to position it in the right position. Once it's there, it goes up and drills all the holes in an area by itself. But we still need the worker because the worker knows what needs to be done there and then can ensure that it's done correctly.
And safely.
It's
done more safely when something else is doing the look ahead, but also making sure it's done well.
Yes.
Quality assurance.
Yeah. And I think we are not looking to develop things that eliminate the labor force. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, I think that's it. I really appreciate the time and the conversation, and we'll look forward to more in the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
It's great.